Now, most of us have fantasized about what we would do after we won an EPT title and 1 million euros. I doubt many would say they wanted to review a hand played by a middle-aged Englishman in a £10 MTT. But today I'm joined by Padraig O'Neill, who's just won the EPT Prague Main Event, and he's quite kindly agreed to do a hand review with me. Before we do that, thank you for joining me, Padraig, and I'd love to know what does your own study routine look like day to day?
Hey Barry, thanks for having me on. I love your screen name. The
That's
my
a
study
joke.
route.
That's a joke. The joke is that I'm Dara's T-boy. So there you go. Sorry, I
Oh,
interrupted.
okay. I didn't know that. Um, yeah, I guess day to day it looks a bit different, but I concentrate a lot on HRC sims, a little bit of PO work as well. But HRC, like I'll mark loads of hands, so I'm always going through marked hands, 10, 20, 30 hands a night, where I'm just going into analyzing them. And I do maybe one Zoom call a week where we have a study group and we might do a hand history, might run some sims as well. Like, but the first hour is talking about fantasy football as well, so it's not I wouldn't count it as a full 2 3 hours of study.
Yeah.
And other than that, I guess videos I'm running once. I have been a member there for a good 2 years, and I might put one of them up if I have one table left and have it in the background. It's not ideal, but maybe I'll try and stop it and take notes as well. Like so, it's something like that. We're talking 5 to 10 hours a week. If I can get 10 hours, I'm delighted. If I get five, it's like right, that's the bare minimum I kind of need.
Wow. Wow. But like when you say 30 hands a night, that's really interesting. My study up until this year has just basically been what I can glean from writing books for Dara. But I've made a commitment this year to review 365 hands in 2024. And then when you're saying you're doing 30 a night, suddenly that doesn't seem
No, hold on now.
many at
I
all.
mark 30 a night, and there's a
Wow.
big backlog where I never get through because a lot of them I'll watch later and go, why did I tag this hand? This isn't interesting. Because when you have 10 tables, you're like, oh, what's this? Did I get this shove spot right? So I would say maybe it's 10 hands a night that I actually get through, and that's when I play. So yeah, if you do 365 hands, you're going to improve loads. That's a great
Yeah,
thing to
I'm
say.
already noticing a bit of a difference. So we'll jump into the hand. This is a 10 quid tournament on Unibet. I recorded my screen whilst I was playing it. It's easier to do that than get the hand histories from Unibet. And it's way before the money in this tournament. And I'm going to take you through the hand. I'm going to take you through how I review a hand, and I'm just going to get your feedback as we go along. So let's speed this up a little bit. So. So yeah, I'm opening with pocket nines, obviously very, very standard. And a player on my immediate left called Money Taker 68 has just free bet me. No reads, but obviously there's a slight read in the screen name because this is a satirical comment on the GG Poker super user scandal that's just broke. So I presume at this point he's an okay reg at minimum, right? If he was a
He's kept up with the news for sure. Very interesting.
so yeah, so I'm definitely personally going to continue with this hand. I mean, what's your immediate thoughts on how you'd proceed? The blinds do get out of the way for the purposes of this video. Just speed this up. But yeah, yeah, pocket nines. What's your line when it comes back around here?
Oh, so I'm probably continuing with a call as my first thought. But yeah, I don't see readless is quite a big tree bet as well.
Mm,
Um, so I probably continue with it with a call. Like
yeah.
ace queen o, I'm probably just shoving and taking my equity. Like but nines, I don't know, you're gonna run into it a little bit too much. Your blockers aren't great. It seems too strong of a hand to fold. Would be my initial thoughts.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It was for me personally, it's always a call. I'd consider putting another bet in with say tens plus. I looked it up in GTO Wizard, and GTO Wizard mixes, but really likes a shove. My commentary on that would be that I don't think a regular in a £10 Unibet game is going to have the wider, the balanced free betting range that works again, right? So it's a bit of a mix. It's a bit, thankfully, it still calls, so we can continue with the
Yeah,
analysis.
like I think Ace Queen would like kind of be a like the hand I want to shove here. Like obviously Ace King, but
Mm,
yeah, you're right. I think tens. I might shove tens. To be honest, in this tournament, €11, €10 tournament with a guy I don't know, three betting big. I'm not sure he's three bet calling nines, so I'm not
mm,
sure I want to shove tens. But
mm.
jacks, yes, for sure. So nines is probably the line where I'm like I'm happy to call. So I would ignore. I think you're right. I would ignore the charts in this case.
So
Oh, well, look,
obviously,
this is
we
lovely.
flop really, really nicely. Um,
Yeah.
and I think you'd agree with me. This is a like 100% check when you're
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
the
Definitely.
in my position. The reason being is that Money Taker 68 is going to have big range advantage, and in particular, the ace is going to have a lot of the strong aces, whereas we're less likely to have strong aces here. We're more likely to have the second tier aces. If we just look in GTO Wizard quickly, get to this part. Yeah, you can see in theory, he should have a massive range advantage on his board. He's way ahead of us. He's got all the sets, all the top pairs, the much more top pair than us. Absolutely crushes this board. Um, so unsurprisingly, this is 100% check. Um, and let's see what happens. So pretty small bet. I'm not particularly surprised by that. I think that's probably what he should do. So yeah, so first thoughts, small bet into a. I mean, we've obviously just flopped the absolute best possible outcome. Really, what's your line here, Laura?
Well, as your cursor is over and over call, I agree with that. I would keep his bluffs in, but the thing
Mm,
is, like we were talking about how tight his range is. So
mm,
like maybe not super tight, but we don't think he has enough bluffs here, which is a fair assumption in a 10-yard tournament. It's going to be the
mm,
same for everyone. Um, I would call because I think if you raise and he has kings, queens, jacks, I
yeah,
think it looks very scary for
yeah,
him like as well. And I think you're going to get all the money in. It's a disaster not to stack an ace. Don't get me wrong. We're going to have to try and stack him somehow. But even if he checks behind turn, but yeah, I'd call here.
absolutely. And just GTO Wizard, it's a pure call with pocket nines, to this bet size,
Ace is a
which
pure raise though. If you see that, that's interesting.
yeah, yeah, it's So let's see what happens. Um, So again, I think this is 100% check spot in GTO
Yeah,
world. I
yeah.
mean, I don't see how the four changes anything whatsoever. Um, would you ever make a case for doing anything other than checking again in this spot?
No, 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 no. Just keep checking. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just see what he does. So it's another small bet, and now I think I've got my first decision because um, if I thought this player was really really aggressive, I'd definitely be calling 100% of the time here. Um,
Yeah.
And if I thought there was any chance he'd shut down on the turn, I'd be rethinking that. There's potentially lots of draws that come in on the river that might slow him down. So I think there's a case for raising here, and also a case for calling. So which way do you go?
Yeah, so at lower stakes, I think especially people like to set the price, and now you can see it at high stakes as well. But like it doesn't make that much sense if you have kings or queens here to bet again, here. But it could like you could get value from 9-10 suited, Jack
Mm,
10, that sort of thing. Although you
yeah.
can you can now, if you had Jack 10 here, you could be like seeing this bet as weakness and jamming. Like it
Hmm.
is kind of dodgy in a PKO because you're this is a PKO. No, it's not actually, is it?
No, it's a vanilla. It's a normal one. Yeah.
Oh, it's a vanilla. Okay, okay. Um,
If it was a PK,
yeah,
I
I
would have raised ages ago because I get impatient for the bounties. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, that's a bit different. Um, I don't know why I thought it was a PKO. I guess I'm thinking of your boots. Um, yeah, I can see a case for raising here. I think he hates his life if he has kings or he could be a bit stubborn and put you on one of the many draws that are out there. Like if you
Hmm.
have Jack 10, if you have 6, 7 suited, stuff like that. If you have them, and yeah, I can see a case for raising. I don't really mind. It is. I think it's an all in though, unless you made it. If you made it 15 big blinds or 13 big blinds, it looks very very strong.
Yeah.
I think jamming looks yeah, it doesn't look as strong. But I
Yeah.
can get behind a call. I don't mind either. But I probably know myself. I probably raise here. But against an aggressive opponent, if he does have them bluffs in, you know, it's a bit of a disaster as well, like to jam and let him off with it.
The GTO Wizard mixes, but mostly raises here to this
Yeah,
bet
yeah,
sizing. To a larger bet sizing, it calls all the time. I actually uh, I called
that's not, no, it's not a disaster.
and I called because I knew the ace was coming, obviously, to give him the perfect bluff slash value hand. So I've spoiled it there because you can see what I do. But as played, I went for the insta check on the river. I mean, in my mind, that's his river card, and he's supposed to bet it a lot of the time. He's obviously going to check back with say kings and queens and stuff. But I just think that other than maybe the lowest aces, an ace two suited or an ace five suited or something, I just think he's got to bet all the time on the river, and I'm planning to check raise him. Would you agree? What's your line on the river as played?
Yeah, I check. I think he should put you all in or check. I don't think he should bet smaller than you've about 60% pot left. And
Hmm.
I think generally you don't want to open up the action and bet less than that. Although opening up the action for 30% pot when you have 60% left is not, I guess, it's not a disaster if you really want to get milky. But I don't think it's going to be in excuse me. I don't think it's going to be in GTO land. I think you want to just put you all in.
Mm.
Interesting here, like how many people in a 10 euro tournament would have bluffs here. And if he shows a bluff, I think he's going to be moving up the stakes eventually. As long as he's not overdoing it. But
Mm.
very hard to have a bluff here at this point.
Yeah,
Um, there
yeah.
are some, there are some though.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I completely agree. This is actually the reason why I picked this hand out because I mean FYI GTO Wizard does check 100% of the
mm,
time when we get there, and I think but I still think this was a mistake by myself because I think GTO Wizard checks because
right.
in GTO world the player has bluffs, and in my estimation it's normally just the sort of 5% of complete maniacs that will bluff free values at this state level on this site. Um, so we'll see what happens. And I mean, I think he's obviously quite a good player just for the fact that he's taking his time, taking his time
Thinking.
before you see what he eventually does. Yeah, so I'll see
There we
and then
go.
I know I
Yeah,
snap, and he
that makes
actually
sense.
yeah
Just like this.
he had the top of his range. So yeah, I mean, I still think I played the hand wrong. I still think I should have got. I still should have bet either on the turn or I should have led on the river. Um, but it's
I
a
would
close
have,
one.
the thing I would have done different would be to raise the turn. That's probably what I do different. And you've seen in GTO land where eight wants to raise the flop. So if you raise nine, so I don't think it's a disaster at all. To raise the flop, but I probably would still play on the flop. In a high stakes world, I'd play the exact same as you. In the spot, like
Mm.
I'd let them bluff. I think people are going to find more bluffs, though. You are right with that assumption.
So you're saying I should move up the stakes where they'll respect my check raise.
Respect your trapping range there, Barry. Yeah, you'll get bluffed into more. Yeah. No, I think you played it fine. I can see what you're thinking though. You want to exploit and you want to. I wouldn't need turn. See. I don't. If I had so if I was in money taker's shoes and you just lead river, I'm gonna have a hard time just assuming you have like Jack 10, which played passive, and now season ace, which doesn't seem like a good bluffing card, and bet.
Mm,
I'd be like, I'd try and put two and two together. Now, sometimes the odd time you're just going to be like, oh, maybe he has a draw, I guess. But it's hard, especially you've made the assumption as well that Money Taker was a regular, um, or a regular in at least 10 euro tournaments. He's listening
mm,
to the chip race, he's listening to the news
yeah.
in the poker world with that name. So maybe he would put two and two together. So if you're against a complete randomer, maybe you'd be like, well, maybe I can just lead out here.
Mm,
Which I'd be very much, I'm okay with exploits, especially in these stakes. But I'm not sure here. Just doesn't look right, does it?
no.
It looks like you, I don't know, you have an ace and you don't want them to check back kings.
Mm, absolutely. Well, that was very, very good. Thank you, Parag. I'm going to try and continue this getting world-class poker players to review my £10 tournament. So I'm very delighted that you were the one that did it. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Barry. Yeah, delighted to be here. This is what I dreamed of after winning big tournaments. You're dead right.
Absolutely. Cheers.